Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome. Happy Friday. It is Orange Bloods Live. I'm House Divided. Well, part of House Divided. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That's Chad Hastings. Glad to be with you. Do us a solid. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe, notifications, all those things. Jump into the Specs chat, comment, super chat. Live it up today. Give us some cash. And, of course, this show is brought to you by the lovely people over at Texas Card House. Austin in the state of Texas is #1 poker house and so much more. Almost 20,000 square feet of absolute loveliness, tremendous lunch and dinner. You don't need to play cards to go take advantage of maybe the best chicken strips and chicken tenders, whatever you want to call them, in town. And oh, by the way, the largest TV in North Austin. And yeah, I wish I could sneak over, Chad, and watch a little bit of Liverpool tomorrow morning on that TV. They're going to be open.
There you go.
Might as well just, if I could, go over there at 6:30 in the morning. Why?
They are open 24 hours a day. We should probably mention that more often.
Yes, they are. I could go watch Liverpool at 6:30 in the morning tomorrow, I suppose, if I wanted to get up that early. By the way, they do have a badass tournament going right now, a tournament series called Trailblazer, $2 million in guarantees. It'll be in Austin at the new social club between the 16th and the 28th of this month. Scan those QR codes, make it happen. Mr. Hastings, how are you on this fine Friday?
Man, I'm doing well. Off week for Texas, obviously, but kind of recharging some batteries. Looking forward to the only ranked matchup of the weekend. Going to hit Kyle Field this weekend for Texas and A&M in Missouri. So, yeah, I'm doing good. Really excited about it. And we kind of fooled some people with the shadowy figure on the show today. Somebody thought it was Lamar Jackson. This just
Wait, what?
This just in, it's not Lamar Jackson. His eligibility has run out. We've double-checked that. But we will get to exactly who that shadowy figure is. But I'm doing well. The important question for you is, are you doing well? Are you feeling better than yesterday?
I'm doing better. I'll tell you what. You want the reality?
I love reality.
About 10 minutes ago, it occurred to me that I had not partaken in anything Rogue Shop related in about 36 hours. Because I've told you before, or at least I've told the people on the show, that when I am not feeling well, if I feel sick, that Rogue is wasted on me. That no matter what I take, it can't defeat the powers of not feeling well. So at about 11:45, it occurred to me, you know what? I'm feeling well. I should partake. And so I did. And then I realized about 30 seconds into the live read that words weren't coming out of my mouth eloquently. I called myself the House Divided. Hi, I'm House Divided. And then it was like, oh, yeah, haven't smoked in the last 36 hours. And so here we are. I'm calling myself the show, and the words aren't coming out. I'm going to be okay. Sometimes you just need to adjust a little bit. I'm adjusting.
I got you. Okay, fair enough.
And you can scan that QR code that was up there and get hooked up by Rogue Shop and any of their number of different products that make you feel good, that take the edge off. Because that's what I was going for, Chad. It's Friday. You know how mad I am today before we get into Sark being on the road? My dogs, I don't know where all of the mud came from.
Okay.
But Harper the Stinky, that's what I'm going to start calling her. You know how Kings, it's like Chad the Great or something, you know that,
right?
Harper's the Stinky.
Harper the rank. What about the rank? Sounds a little more.
Harper the Rank.
Harper the rank.
Or maybe Harper the Horrible. And you're like, well, what was so horrible about Harper? And it's the stink. I'm watching the season finale of the Lord of the Rings show, Rings of Power on Amazon.
Right.
Harper comes running into the bedroom, leaps onto the bed, covered in mud everywhere. I've been so pissed. I've been in a bad mood all day long.
Oh, it's so rough.
So I said, you know what? Rogue will help me get out of the bad mood.
That'll do it.
And so we'll doing the show and participating in the conversation. See, Binks, come on, Binks. Can you cut me some slack a little bit?
That's true. He did scream at the television, that GM looks exactly like Kevin Costner. This is so weird.
Hey, to channel my inner Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, just because it's a TV show or a movie don't mean it's not real. You remember the scene that I'm referencing?
Oh yeah. What do you mean, you people?
No, he sings the Jeffersons.
The Jeffersons, yeah. The Jeffersons.
That's the theme song from the Jeffersons. Just because it's a theme song don't mean it's not real.
It don't mean it's not real. Oh, it's so good. All right, Catch. This may be a good chat to get us started on the conversation. Future Longhorn Dad says, FYI, I've been tracking the Sark copter across the greater Houston area this morning. Catch, everybody knows when it's a bye week, it means the coaches get out on the recruiting trail and hit some key spots. So let's talk about what Sark's going to be doing and why it might really matter for the 25 class. And please tell me that chat is right and Sark is out there in a helicopter. Please tell me that's true.
Oh, yeah. Sark's in the Sark copter or whatever we want to call that thing.
I think Sark copter's good.
What was it? Wasn't it someone that first?
It was. Well, he's the first one I remember. They called that one the swag copter.
Oh, God.
The swag copter.
He deserved to go down in flames. Not in the helicopter, but as the coach at Texas A&M, the swag copter.
Oh, what was wrong with that? The word swag is bad? What was wrong with swag?
It's a little bit like me saying natty.
The natty. They ought to call it the natty copter.
The natty, but you know what? I can actually live with that. The natty copter. Well, why do you call it that? Because this is where I go to get the players that are going to win us a natty. Okay, that's a little better than swag copter.
I always did imagine, Catch, like at that moment, like a 74-year-old male Aggie fan being told that his head coach was taking a helicopter to high school games and it was called the swag copter, and what would happen to his brain. Like, it probably didn't compute very well.
Well, the thing about what's happening today is Sark's going all over Houston. And when you're in a helicopter and you get to beat Houston traffic, you can hit all of the stops.
Yeah.
And I think some stops are going to mean more than others. I think that there was a stop at Houston North Shore. If you want to know ultimately who the shadow figure was on the thumbnail, it's North Shore defensive back Devin Sanchez.
There it is.
Because Sark went out the North Shore today on the copter. But the thing that we should also – so the question is, well, what does that mean? Well, I think it means Sark went by and said hello. And they're going to continue to try with Devin Sanchez, and they're going to continue to try to chip away. And if they could get that kid to give them the time of day and come in for a visit and go from there, then I think they would. Obviously, I don't know that anything's going to completely come out of that, but Sark's all over Houston today. I saw a tweet from the A-Leaf, I think, athletic department, or from the school district, not from any of the high schools. He's seeing everybody today. When you have a bye week and you're a guy like Sarkisian who loves to recruit, then on a day like this, you want to go see everybody. Steve Sarkisian will have hit every important stop in the Houston area today. Now, that doesn't mean, I'm somewhat dismissive of the Devin Sanchez North Shore thing, that he visits North Shore, and there will be, oh my God, that must mean that Devin Sanchez is something's going. I don't know that that's what it means. Yeah. I'll be transparent. It's why we did the shadow figure on the thumbnail.
Right. But also, to be fair, Hunter's chat is probably correct, right, Catch? I'm guessing Devin Sanchez isn't the only badass recruit that's at North Shore.
Well, and I would also, Texas does. It used to be that North Shore was really like a home away from home for Texas. That's the home of Corey Redding. Yep. So the Longhorns used to have a real good thing going on at North Shore. And Trey Hopkins is from North Shore. But in recent years, they haven't had a lot of success out of North Shore. And the guys that they've signed out of North Shore haven't exactly panned out. So I think this visit today could have been as much about just reinforcing that Texas loves North Shore and they want North Shore to love Texas. And yes, North Shore always will have a lot more than just one guy. But I do think there were some important visits that are being made in that helicopter today. Mm-hmm. One is at Hitchcock High School. Mm-hmm. I think, and there is exactly, like I said, he's everywhere in that bad boy.
Look at that.
And there will be more stops to go. One of the stops that we know is on the itinerary today is Hitchcock. And they're recruiting Malcolm Simpson. That's also the home of Kelshawn Johnson, a wide receiver committed to Texas A&M, but a guy that Texas really liked. And if you'll remember, when Kelshawn Johnson was originally making his decision, the Longhorns were waiting on DeCorian Moore. And so it was those two guys definitely – I don't want to say that Kelshawn Johnson's a poor man's DeCorian Moore because that sounds really, really harsh. But DeCorian Moore is a special player. It's not really to be associated at all with that guy is probably not an insult. I think there was a feeling that they slow played Kelshawn a little bit, whereas the Aggies did not. They basically told Kelshawn Johnson, you are our guy and you don't take second fiddle to anybody. I think it seems to me that the Longhorns are going to take at least one more high school wide receiver. We've had conversations about Dalen McCutcheon. I know he's been discussed on the network here on Orange Bloods Live and on Orange Bloods website nonstop for pretty much the last week. I think they'll try to continue to chip away a little bit at Kelshawn Johnson because I think he actually more so than McCutcheon, I think fits the profile of what this wide receiver class is missing because they didn't get DeCorian Moore. So that kind of speedy inside slot guy that's in the Devontae Smith mold from when Sark was at Alabama. I don't know that guy is in this class. And you and I have been talking about Malcolm Simpson a lot, way before he committed to Nebraska. He's been a guy that we've talked about on the Recruiting Hour and on this show. He's at Hitchcock. He made a visit a couple of weeks ago for a Texas home game. He's expected to be at the Georgia game in 15 days? Well, no. Yeah, 15 days. And then I was going to talk myself into it being 8 days, but that's Oklahoma. That's the rogue talking. Come on, rogue, help me out here. Calgon, take me away. If they offer Malcolm Simpson, a kid who's kind of he's about 265, 270 right now. He's not as big as these big monsters that Texas typically likes inside. You think about Tavondre Sweat-ish. He's more in kind of the Byron Murphy mode as a potential interior defensive lineman. He is an incredible athlete. Incredible. In fact, if you were to watch him on the basketball court in terms of athleticism and look at his body type, there have been comparisons to Zion Williamson. He's not that athletic. Let's not go crazy, but I think it speaks to his level of athleticism and how he can get up off the floor as a big guy to throw down dunks of all kinds of varieties that anybody would dare throw a Zion comparison out there. I think the thing I'm watching more than anything else is there's an anticipation that Sarkisian's going to have a talk with Malcolm Simpson. If they offer Malcolm Simpson, that kid's going to be a Longhorn.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that you wonder about is if you're a Texas coach, sometimes knowing that, it might be that they're not quite ready for the kid to commit. That maybe they're waiting to see a few other things and what are the numbers going to look like. And maybe they want him, but they want him on their time frame and not necessarily an automatic flip. Because I'm telling you, if they offer everything that I've been told, and I think everybody on the Nebraska side knows it, Texas offers, that kid's flipping. I wonder if Texas is going to know that. Sometimes you can reveal your cards too soon, right? It's like telling a girl you love her, and then you're like, but wait, we've only gone out 3 times. Sometimes you can just say too much. So I wonder if maybe the offer doesn't come today, and maybe they'll tell him that they're waiting for some reason because they want that process to go a little slower than an automatic yes. So my eyes are glued to Hitchcock today more than any of these other stops, because in the Hitchcock case, there are a couple of guys that are committed elsewhere that I think the Longhorns would have a real interest in. But in one of those cases, he could be the next Texas commitment if they want him to be.
If you want to jump in with a super chat, it'll go right to the top of the list. Already over 500 folks in the Specs chat. And speaking of Specs, it is the sale so nice. We are going to play it twice. The whiskey sale is wrapping up. You got to get it done by tomorrow on October 5th.
Or you die.
Specs for our whiskey sale and enjoy the lowest prices on Texas' largest selection of whiskey. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Specs. Cheers to savings.
I'm so sorry if I cut off your "or you die." I
think it made it. I think it made it.
You snuck it in. If we didn't quite rehearse that one like we should. That was excellent. Yeah.
Specs has agencies that do little things like slogans and advertising campaigns. I wonder if any of them have considered get the whiskey at Specs or die.
Or you die. So, Catch, I don't see any super chats. So let me ask you a quick question. As you're talking about Devin Sanchez, an image came into my mind, and it was the image of Devin Sanchez going up against DeCorian Moore in the championship game, right? We talked about that. You brought that matchup up. You're the first person I heard to mention it. So at this moment, Moore is committed to Oregon and Sanchez is committed to Ohio State. If you had to go to the window in Vegas and bet that combo or any other combo by the time they both sign, what do you do? Would you still lean in on Oregon, Ohio State today?
I probably would. Sanchez has never given any indication that he's anything other than rock solid Ohio State.
Okay.
So to me, this really comes down to, do we think DeCorian Moore is going to flip? And I don't know. I don't see it. Not at this point. Now, look, I think he and Texas are still playing footsie. I don't think he's telling anybody not to call him. It is probably a little bit similar to Michael Fasusi. Well, he's still talking to Kyle Flood, and the doors of communication are still open. They've not reached a point where a guy said, hey, man, I'm done. Can you just not call me anymore? I don't think, the percentage isn't 0% with Texas and DeCorian Moore, but it's not 85 either. So I don't know exactly how to handicap it, but if we were in Vegas and I was putting money down on one combination over the other, it would be Oregon and Ohio State at this point.
Gotcha. All right. So again, Sark out in the helicopter this weekend, which just, I don't care if it is. I know it's super modern times, but that's pretty cool. And like you pointed out, Catch, trying to get around a city like Houston, that is maximizing by utilizing something like that. If you're in DFW or you're in Houston, or hell, it's everywhere now, San Antonio, visiting Austin schools in the helicopter would probably save you a ton of time. If you're trying to get from Austin to Round Rock or out to Hutto or whatever it is, like you're gonna run into all that traffic. So
now, can I tell you the funniest thing about today?
Sure.
Sarkisian tweeted earlier today, and he tweeted to show off the helicopter.
Okay.
But I'm fairly certain that he had a typo in his tweet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it's a typo that becomes all the more funnier because of the letter that I think he meant to say big day in H-Town.
Okay.
He typed and posted bid day in H-Town.
Oh, that is a beautiful little Freudian. What do we call that? A Freudian thumb? Like, I don't know what you call that. That is beautiful.
Big day in H-Town. And I got to be honest, the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, Sark, let them know about that NIL. And then it occurred to me, that could have easily just been big day in H-Town. Did he really mean to say bid day in H-Town?
All I know,
he didn't, but that's a funny typo.
All I know, Catch, is that everybody from Devin Sanchez to Kelshawn Johnson and all the big 4 and 5 stars saw that tweet and thought, "You damn right it is."
Yes.
Bring that bid, Sark. I've got B lunch. I can talk to you anytime after that.
Devin Sanchez is walking around with this big grin on his face. What are you smiling for? I don't know. Sark's on his way, and apparently they're going to offer me a huge amount of money because it's bid day.
It's bid day, baby. That's awesome. Bid day. There it is. Hashtag bid day. South End Zone Queen is ready for bid day. Catch, we had a couple of chats in. Again, if you get a super chat to us, it'll go right to the top of the list. South End Zone Queen had one a few minutes ago. Catch, is Arkansas, all caps, going to steal Lance Jackson, or is he just going to is he going to a free game because his brother plays football there? I hadn't heard about that. Is he going to the Tennessee-Arkansas game?
He is, and ultimately South End Zone Queen answered her own question. He's got a brother that plays there, and you just always have to assume that, for instance, I'll give you the one that stands out the most to me is Malik Muhammad often visited his brother in Stillwater when he was a high school prospect.
All right. Yeah.
You're always going to go see your brother play. And, I don't think that Arkansas is in play. I think Lance Jackson is every bit as committed to Texas as Devin Sanchez is to Ohio State, which is to say, I think those guys are going where they're going. I wouldn't worry about Lance Jackson at all. And I would say, South End Zone Queen, don't be surprised if this isn't the last time that this happens. Because this is, if you think about it from Lance Jackson's perspective, he's grown up his entire life watching his older brother play football. He's got a few weeks left before he'll never be able to really do that again. Not in the sense that he's actually going just to watch him play. Maybe there's a world out there where they play against each other in college. Maybe there's a world out there where they play against each other in the NFL. But to go as a little brother to watch big brother play, he's got the rest of this season, and that's it. And, Arkansas probably got a handful of home games left. He won't go to all of them. So I think you could totally understand and relate. And I don't think the Texas coaching staff is concerned at all.
In fact, Catch, if I'm the Texas coaching staff, I might remind Lance that, next year when he's at Texas, if the schedule rolled out the same way, he could do the same damn thing. Arkansas home game, Texas bye week. Yeah, of course. Of course you can go see your brother play football.
That's true. I hadn't even thought of that. There will be bye weeks.
There will be some bye weeks, maybe 2 a season for a while. So you got that. Catch, Vivek wanted to go back to the receivers. How hard is Sark pushing for McCutchen and Johnson? We get one of those, and Terry, we are set at wide receiver. A great haul.
I'll tell you that Jason Sukumel is pretty certain that Dalen McCutcheon is going to be a Longhorn. So then the question would be, do they go out and take a fourth? Would you tell Kelshawn Johnson no? I don't think so. If I'm being completely honest, I wouldn't take either guy. Not because I don't think they're incredibly talented, but I would be completely content with French and Lockett, and I would be going into the portal for a starter or the best portal wide receiver available. And if you're asking me what would be more valuable between Kelshawn Johnson or Dalen McCutcheon or the next A.D. Mitchell or, the next Isaiah Bond, I would say the next Isaiah Bond or the next Adonai Mitchell. That, I think we live in a world right now where Texas – and it also may come down to what do you think the wide receiver position will look like from a returning sense? Who goes pro? And who enters the portal on the Texas side? I think that this is the last year for Silas Bolden. He has no more eligibility beyond this year. Isaiah Bond's currently being projected as an fairly early first-round draft pick candidate. That mock draft that we talked about on the show yesterday from The Ringer had him at 11. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I think it speaks to the way people view him. He's likely a one-and-done guy. Does a guy like Jonte Cook enter the transfer portal? I don't know that it would make a lot of sense. I think that if that guy's thinking, I'm not getting as much playing time as I want to, if you're Texas, you can point to the guys that are departing and say, those guys have cleared out. And, oh, by the way, are you going to walk into a better situation than Arch Manning being your freaking starting quarterback next year? The answer is probably no, but that doesn't mean that the thought won't at least be something that gets thought about. So I would leave room for a portal guy. And if the answer is we think we can take all of these guys at the high school level and you're damn right we're going to take somebody in the portal, then cool. But that would be my preference for an emphasis more than anything else at this point.
Vivek, thank you for that chat. Again, if you want to throw us a super chat, it'll go right to the top of the list. Buy or sell is coming up. We'll get you a Scottish guy on a Friday as well. Thanks for everybody jumping in the chat. Catch, I feel like there's something I'm missing here. I will not read this out loud. Scan that for me and tell me if that's like entertainment or is somebody messing around. What's Teta doing here?
He's saying that the Woodlands area, I don't know what Nugenics is.
Isn't Nugenics the stuff that Frank Thomas and Flutie and isn't that what they're pushing?
I have no idea, but I think he's talking about me, Chad.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm sorry. But Teta, I get it. You were connecting it because Catch felt a little sluggish yesterday because he was feeling bad, and you guys made a low T reference, and then there's the Nugenics. I got it. Okay, got it. Thank you. I thought it was in fun. I thought it was okay to put up, and I was right in the end. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to make sure. I was like, wait, online? What are you talking about? And then I'm sorry. My bad. I did not realize they were making a Catch reference there. I should have probably known. Okay.
Have you been on the road this afternoon?
I've not. No.
What's going on?
No rogue. I just missed it. You know me. Sometimes I miss the joke that is being presented. Sadly, it happens. It happens more often than I would like to admit. All right. So so Devin Sanchez, obviously the North Shore part of it. You mentioned a couple other names. Is there anybody else that you've heard about that you're hearing about that maybe Sark is going to be visiting over the weekend that could be big?
No, not really. I wish I had. You know what I mean? Like
okay.
I wouldn't be surprised to hear his name everywhere.
And no
one should be surprised, but I don't think there's a specific visit where it's like, it's the Hitchcock. The Hitchcock one is the one that I'm watching on multiple layers. That's where Sukamel, I think his interest is in terms of, I got to make some calls. I got to check some things out and make sure that, did Texas offer? Are we on commit watch? But beyond that, no, I think he's just doing the rounds.
And then in terms of like the full weekend, do you think this lasts all weekend? Like today is a day to go to schools, but then maybe on a Saturday and Sunday when he's got this off weekend, is it going to be literally going around and hitting some living room visits as well?
Well, no, because it's not the time of the year for in-home visits.
Oh, so he can't do that part. This is just
can't do that at all.
Okay, so this is really just a today as we record on a Friday. This is Friday, fly in, hit some schools, and then it's back to Austin.
Yeah, and technically he's not supposed to be talking. You can do your bump in hellos, right? So it's like, hey, tell Devin Sanchez to be down at the field house at 11:25 a.m. He and Sark are accidentally going to bump into each other.
Mm-hmm.
At which point Sark can be like, hey, Devin, nice to see you. I hope things are going well. And how's your family? And you can chit chat for a little bit. But beyond that, they can't go sit down in the coach's office and have a talk. That's later in the year. That's why ultimately this isn't that big of a deal.
Gotcha.
Ultimately, there's only so much contact that can take place on these visits. It's usually about being seen. Imagine Sark will take the helicopter to games tonight, and they'll want guys to just see, Sark came to watch you play.
Well, and And I forgot that element too, because that is one of the main ways Kevin Sumlin got the attention back in the day. It was landing at games. It was that feel of like, it almost had, for those wrestling fans, it was almost like that shot of Ric Flair landing in the helicopter. Remember that one at whatever event that was? That was when we were kids. That was like, oh my God, he's in a helicopter. But yeah, that will be a part of it too. So it'll go into tonight, land at a couple key games, and then get back out. That'll be interesting.
These things mean less than the fans would want them to. I mean, Sark's going to do work today, but is anything really going to happen that changes the landscape of any of the biggest recruitments that he's involved in? No. Like, is it going to hurt? No. Might it help a little bit? Sure. Is it going to help a lot? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. We're a couple of months away from signing day. In most cases, the cake's been in the oven now at 350 for like 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. And, I don't know how long it takes to bake a cake, but my thought process is it'll be in there for like another 10 or 15 minutes. And,
by the way, sorry.
No, and this is still almost about as much 2026 as it is 2025. It's next year's recruiting class. Again, you want to be seen. You want those guys to know that Sark came by specifically to check in on you. Those little things help, but it's not like any. Let me put it to you like this. Next year, when we're talking about the next DeCorian Moore or the next Lance Jackson, we're not going to reference back to November 3rd or 4th. What is today, the 4th?
Today is the 4th, yes.
Nobody's going to go, remember back on November 4th when Sark flew the helicopter to a Leaf or to North Shore? Man, that changed this. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal.
Gotcha. By the way, South End Zone Queen, let's keep him healthy, shall we? We can't go parachuting in. No. Because the last thing a 5-star wants to see is Sark snap an ankle on a landing. Like, we can't have that. Can't have that. I get it. I get that it sounds like a decent idea. And yes, that you found these emojis is awesome. You found a helicopter and a parachuter, but we can't have Sark parachuting into a game. That can't happen. He could get hung up on a power line somewhere, but most importantly, he could fall on his face. He could hurt himself. No.
He can get caught in the helicopter blades.
You can't do it. Well, we don't want to. Obviously, that's a whole nother. We don't want that. But yeah.
Do you know I have a terrifying fear of helicopters?
Is that right?
I don't think I could get in one.
You've never been in a helicopter?
No.
Interesting. Okay. My wife and I took a couple helicopter rides on vacations, but then my wife saw a story about one that crashed, and she declared, "We will never get on a helicopter again." And we haven't been on one.
Not just help in like, will Jeff Ketchum ever get into a? No, it's just
she finished it. Yeah, and it happened to be a crash like on the island where we had been. So then it was too close to her, and she said, "Oh, that's it, we're done. No more helicopters."
See, this is where I'm differing from your wife. If we were at the exact location where it occurred,
right,
the math would kick in, and I'd go, well, what are the chances of lightning striking twice?
Right. Then you'd say, put me in that helicopter.
I'd be much more likely to get into the helicopter at a place where there's already been a plane crash or a helicopter crash than I am if it's never happened before. Because then there's a part of me that's thinking, this area is due.
Yeah, exactly. It's due. It's due for a good flight. Due for a good flight.
No. If there's never been an accident, it's due for the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta play.
Wait a minute. You guys have never had a helicopter crash? Oh,
done.
I am not getting in that thing. Do you guys realize you've never had a crash? You do.
South End Zone Queen, thank you very much for the chats. As always, somebody's got another recruiting question that we will get to. Also, we'll get you a little Longhorn football update before we hit buy or sell today. Also, let's talk a little AV consultations. When I've been thinking about them this week, it's real simple. It's your off week, Longhorn fans. You're going to get to sit there in comfort. Just think about your setup. Is it the setup you've always wanted? Maybe you're going to go meet some friends at a Pluckers or Cover 3. Remember, AV Consultation sets those places up. All those badass screens. I call it the 4x1. when there's 4 screens, but then it can all become one screen. They can do that in your house. They can Tom's told me they've put as many as 12 screens in one room of somebody's house. You think it up, they can do it. They've been doing this since 1988. And there's your number, 255-8678. 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com and start looking at some of those pictures of all the cool stuff they can do. Remember, let them handle every detail, including buying the TV, because they get great deals that you're just not going to be able to get any other way. AV Consultations. Everybody enjoy that off weekend, bye week, sit there and watch all the football, or maybe you get away from it for a weekend and don't want to watch anything. Whatever you're doing.
Why would you want to do that?
Enjoy it. That's not me, but some people. I'm gonna celebrate the bye week where there's no football going on. I'm just gonna go to a football game. Like, that's how I'm doing it. But
what do Aggies do when their date is their father? And Aggies score a touchdown, men and women start making out in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all just stop and watch other people make out? Do Aggies get in trouble if you find like a hot girl and she's making out? Is that something that people even want to watch? I've never thought about it before. Would I ever just want to watch somebody else make out with a woman that you'd like to? No, you wouldn't want to do that. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, no, there's not a voyeur element to it. If you are not currently on a date at an A&M game, you
don't look.
You just do what normal folk do. You high five and you have a good. My dad and I high five catch when the Aggies.
What's the longest you've ever seen someone make out after a touchdown?
Has
anybody ever made it to kickoff?
I've to the next kick. I've definitely never seen that. I've never seen one that lasted more than, I don't know, 8 seconds, 8 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah. That part of it is, I'm not going to say it's an overblown tradition in a way.
Have you ever made out with a girl at an A&M game?
Made out? No.
Well, that's what you do. You make out.
Kiss when they score? Yes. Make out? No. That's not me. I'm not a PDA guy. So no. I would never have any.
When you've kissed a girl you kissed your wife, right?
I would, if I kiss somebody at an A&M game, I'm kissing them, but I'm doing it in a very normal public way. No one would ever call it making out.
I thought it was in the Aggie bylaws. Had to be tongue.
I don't believe there are. First off, I don't think there are any Aggie bylaws anywhere. But no.
What is it in where it says you can't stand on the grass?
I don't know. I don't know that that's ever been written down.
An Aggie handbook?
I don't know if there's a tradition handbook or not. The tradition is you get to kiss your date when they score. I've never heard it as make out. That's not how it's been described.
I don't know, man. Whenever they show that thing on TV, I feel like dudes are putting tongues into their dates' mouth.
Catch, the make out point is at midnight yell practice. There's a point at midnight yell practice where they turn the lights out. That's when you're supposed to make out.
Wait, what?
At midnight yell practice.
I've never heard of this.
Okay. At midnight yell practice, there's a point right at the end of one of the, I think it's when you're done with all the yells. Like, you've done all the relevant yells that would be there. It's all done. They turn the lights out. And if you're with a date, you make out until the lights come back on.
You just made that up.
No, I'm not. And catch, wait a minute, we got to get level 2. If you're there as a single Aggie, you are supposed to, in the old days, bring a lighter, but I guess now it's a phone. I haven't been to a one in a few years. You would bring a lighter, and when you put the lighter up in the air, that signified that you're by yourself. And if two people with a lighter want to lock eyes and get together and then start making out, that's what you're supposed to do.
No, you just made that up.
You're not
getting me with that.
Nope. I swear it's true. I swear to you that is.
I've never heard of that before.
Now, did they get rid of it somewhere along the line? I don't know. But in the 90s. When was the
last time you were at Aggie Yell midnight practice?
Oh, God. The last time I hit midnight yell practice was probably 2013 when Bama came in and Robert Earl and Lyle Lovett had a concert after midnight yell. So it's been over 10 years since I've been to one.
I need a young Aggie to confirm whether or not this still happens.
I'm assuming, and what I would assume is, I guess you take your phone and you put the phone light up in the air to signify, but I can still see people with lighters at yell practice.
You've seen it before.
Oh God, it's just so silly. It's so silly.
I'm trying to decide, like, is that pathetic, desperate,
or
opportunistic?
All of it. Yes, is the answer to your question. It's great. It's pathetic. It's cool. It's what college football is all about. It's why the Aggies are the Aggies. It's like all the stuff all put together at the same time. Yeah. And I've seen one or two instances, but it's really more of a tradition of just like, hey, I'm here by myself. But Catch, let me tell you what I've not seen. I've never seen a smoking hot girl at midnight yell practice run up to a guy with a lighter and go, let's go. I've never seen that happen.
Because in my mind, if you're a guy and you hold that lighter up into the sky, you risk the list eater deciding you're her huckleberry.
Yeah.
What happens if you put it up in the sky and then the person that is accepting, you don't want to accept? You can't turn away a girl.
Right. Oh, I know.
What kind of gentleman would you be at that point?
That's another layer of it that I do not understand. I'll tell you, Catch, I don't think I've ever been to a midnight yell practice with a date, but I have also never put a lighter up in the air at a midnight yell practice. I just stayed away from the whole thing, mainly because of what you said. What if I throw the lighter up and somebody comes running up to me and it's not somebody I want to make out with at midnight yell? Right? I'm stuck at that point.
Remember in the original Porky's when what was the woman's name? Do you remember the big one that could identify the mole?
Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about the gym teacher?
Yeah, yes, she was a gym teacher.
Was it? It wasn't like Moose.
Was it Ball Breaker?
What did they call it? Ball Breaker. It was something I don't remember exactly.
Anyway, at the end of the movie, she decides that she wants in. And if she wants in, how are you keeping her from getting in? I'm just, these are the things I think about when you tell me about these Aggie traditions.
It's tough, man. It is tough. Midnight Yell is a whole different In fact, you know what? I hadn't even thought of it, but maybe I need to ask Doc Hastings if we need to go hit Midnight Yell tonight and see what it's like in 2024.
You have to take videos.
Dude, I know he hasn't. There's no way he's been to one in like 20 years, I bet. And I know I haven't been since 13. So maybe we go. Maybe we go hit Midnight Yell tonight just to see what happens.
So I double checked it. I looked it up. The official character's name.
Yes.
It was Beulah Ballbreaker.
Look at you. Look at you. You got the Ballbreaker right. Catch, it takes a fine movie connoisseur to know the last name of the gym teacher in Porky's. Well done.
They don't really show that movie on TV. It was on all the time when we were young.
It was on a lot when we were young. It's not on a lot now. And if you've ever seen it, you kind of understand why.
It's a little bit like Revenge of the Nerds. When it's over with, you're like, guys, sex crimes have been committed in this movie.
It ages.
People go away to prison for these things now.
Yeah, it ages differently now. Like you don't get the edited version of Porky's on TBS anymore. No, they put that away. They put that away a long time ago. They're not transitioning from like edited Porky's right into a Big Bang Theory. That's not, that is not what happens. Hey. And now an episode of The Cube with Dwayne Wade.
How old were you the first time you saw the movie Porky's?
Oh, God.
It came out in 1981.
Okay, it came out in 81. So I probably saw it, I'm going to say like 10 or 11.
I think I was 8.
Wow. Yeah, I wasn't quite that early. I saw some movies I shouldn't see in about that time in the single digits, but I think Porky's might have pushed into the double digits a little bit. I think
those movies, as soon as they were on HBO in the early 80s, I was in. There was my mom had no parental supervision over what was taking place with the HBO viewing. It just served as the unofficial babysitter in the Ketchum household.
Yeah, there's certain things that I just never got to because we had the HBO, but my parents were very careful about when and where and all that stuff. That one avoided me for a while. Delirious, Eddie Murphy. I did not see that on that first run. I had to see Delirious later. Raw, I got on the first run, but I had to really be sneaky to watch.
How many times do you think you've seen the movie Porky's?
All the way through, like I'll say 2 or 3 times. It's not
all the way through is an important piece of verbiage there.
All the way through 2 or 3 hunks of the movie, like I don't know, 28 times. You know, like Porky's is one of those movies. I'll watch 10 to 12 minutes of Porky's if it's on.
When it was on 20 years ago, you would. But
2 or 3. I'd say 2 or 3 all the way through. What about you? Stem to stern, how many times?
I don't know. It does not feel like a movie that I've ever programmed and said, oh, 7:30. Porky's is coming on.
I know. I've never seen the sequel all the way through.
Oh, I've seen Porky's Revenge.
I've seen hunks.
That's another one I've seen 50 times.
Is there just the 2 or are there 3 of them?
If there's a third one, I think it has to have all new characters.
Okay, so those are the 2. And by the way, kids, if you have not seen Porky's Revenge with the let's say stuffed bra at the end, cinematic gold, just gold. That's all I can say.
I have nothing to say about either of those movies right now.
Yeah, it is not even 1 o'clock and we're already here. How did we get here, Catch?
Meeting Porky's daughter.
Oh, God. Oh my Lord. Yeah, there's a lot going on in those movies, kids. If you get caught watching Porky's this weekend, do not blame Uncle Catch and Uncle Chad.
I think you go to jail in 2024 for watching Porky's.
It's not our fault. It is not our fault. All right, we did get a couple super chats in, Catch. Let's get these before we buy or sell. I'll go with the biggest money first, Blake. $4.99 from
that's the biggest money.
Sadly, that's true. From an OU perspective, what are the top 3 or 4 things you think they are concerned about going into the Texas game?
I think first, probably explosive plays. So how do you stop explosive plays? Well, I think number one, if from a pass rush standpoint, you can't give Ewers all the time in the world to pick his spots. So I think they're going to bring pressure. I think they're going to stress the pressure has to get home, that you cannot let Quinn Ewers make a sandwich back there and then otherwise he's going to deliver it. I think tackling becomes really important. This is a Texas team with so much speed. You know, not all their explosive plays occur because they're going over the top of the defense. A lot of times they're short plays that open up into big plays. So I think if you're Oklahoma, you have to stop the big plays. You have to tackle well. You have to get to the quarterback. I think on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, that offensive line has been so bad that I think they're imploring that group to hold on for just half a second longer. You know, hold your blocks more so than you've done so far this season. They've got to be able to control the line of scrimmage. I mean, if I tell Chad right now, OU's offensive line will lose the line of scrimmage battle in a way that is obvious and apparent to the naked eye, I bet Chad would probably say it's going to be a tough day for Oklahoma to win that game. Usually whenever there are upsets in this particular rivalry, think back to 2015. Usually the underdog brings a level of physicality that oftentimes is a surprise. But over the course of 40 minutes, you walk away going, God, they kind of whipped that ass today, didn't they? And whether you expected it or not, that's a piece of the puzzle when teams end up pulling. And upsets don't happen a lot in this rivalry. They do. I mean, randomly they will occur, but more times than not, if you look at the series history over the last 25 years, because I think in the 80s and the 90s, there were a lot of upsets, Chad. You think of the Peter Gardere teams going undefeated against Oklahoma, and more times than not, they weren't the better team.
Yeah.
But starting when Mac Brown arrived, and then really when he and Stoops were there together, more times than not, when you go back and you look at the victors of those games, if they were upsets in real time, by the end of the year, they weren't. By the end of the year, you'd go, who was the best team? Last year was an upset. Oklahoma upsets Texas. And then at the end of the year, Texas was a better team than Oklahoma. That doesn't happen very often. More times than not, the better team has won this game. But it happens enough that, I think that the upset threat will always loom large. You'll never be able to convince Texas or Oklahoma fans that an upset's not possible, because while they don't happen more times than not, they do happen. And you seem to remember the ones that happen more than the ones that don't. It's like, oh, the victors won 6 in a row in the series or the favorite. And you'll go, but remember when Charlie Strong, or remember last year with Brent Venables? Those things always stand out, I think, to the brain more so than when the obvious occurs.
Blake, if I'm Oklahoma, I'm worried about one thing, maybe one thing only to start with. Can you score enough to hang with Texas if your defense and your special teams don't help? They have to know how anemic that offense is. I'd be afraid I can't score enough. That would be the biggest thing. It's like being at midnight yell with a lighter. You're just afraid you can't score enough. That's the problem. All right. Thank you for that super chat. The other one looks like this $2 super chat from Longhorn Football Edits. Happy Friday, gents. I need a Devin Sanchez flip. Ooh, you put the word need in there. Need Football Edits?
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to get it, but need it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of cool.
Wish it into existence, Longhorn Football Edits. Just wish it away.
It would be fantastic for Texas if that would happen. And it would be fantastic on the other side if you don't like Ohio State, that would happen. South End Zone Queen throws in this question. What happens when OU plays Aggie? Who do we root for? South End Zone Queen, of course, it's not on the schedule for a regular season for the next couple years. But if you're asking in general, I would say it depends on, it depends at the time. But Catch, most Longhorns, don't they treat that like you and I would treat like an Eagles-Washington game where it's like, oh, God, just finish it, and then whatever happens. Like, does a Texas fan actively root for either one of those teams when they play each other?
It's always about what your self-interests are in any given year.
Because now you're back in the same conference for the first time in forever.
When in doubt, what helps you out the most in whatever your agenda is in that given year?
It turns into that moment of there's a team at the end you would like to have be the winner. Not that you're rooting, but at the end, if they don't get it done, you end up saying to your Longhorn friend, can't even count on the Aggies to do what, blah, blah, blah. Or can't even count on the Sooners to beat the Aggies when we need them to, blah, blah. But South End Zone Queen, I think that is the general answer. I don't know that there's ever a moment where you would have a fan tell you they actually root for one of those teams. Catch, back to recruiting real quick. Vivek asked earlier, who is the can't miss in 2026 besides John Turntine? Is there anybody at that level other than Turntine for you?
Can't miss? There's no 6 stars yet in my mind. I'm not quite ready to go there.
Gotcha. Okay, Vivek, thank you for that. If you want to throw us a super chat, oh, look at there. A Peter the Great super chat. Hook 'em ace with a $4.99. Besides Peter the Great, what Texas quarterback have the best records against OU? Will Peter's record ever be duplicated?
I don't think it will.
I'm going to say no, just because it's such a difficult thing to do. And Catch, guys, to be the starter for 4 straight years is a difficult enough thing to do. Then you got to win the damn game. Off the top of my head, I can't think of somebody that's 3-1 or 3-1. I guess would be the next best record. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I mean, Major's record was pretty good. He wins in 98.
Was he the comeback in 99 as well?
Yes, but then that's right? It.
So that's 2. Yeah, that's good. And he wasn't a part of any of the other games.
I think off the top of my head. Let's see. James Brown No, because he ties. They win.
Right. The win.
Yeah, I don't think so. They lose in 96.
Ellinger, Sam won and lost, right?
Yeah, but he was like 4, and he was 1-4, I think, in his career, if you include the Big 12 championship game.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. I got you. Okay. Now somebody is saying, a couple people, Colt 3-1.
Colt wins in 06, loses in 07. Yes, he was 3-1. So that's got to be, obviously that's the second best.
Yeah, there's your answer. The next best to Peter the Great would be Colt at 3.
2006, loses in 07, wins in 08, wins in 09. Boy, he was bad in 09, but yes, he did win.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it'd be a real tough record to break. Peter the Great at 4-0. All right, it is House Divided on this Friday. Damn near 900 folks in the Specs chat. Let's play it one more time. The Specs whiskey sale is going through Saturday. We are recording on a Friday. October 5th, the last day. Here's the last time you're going to see these bottles for a while.
Specs for our whiskey sale and enjoy the lowest prices on Texas' largest selection of whiskey. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Specs, cheers to savings.
And thanks to Specs for their great partnership. I don't see any super chats out there. If you want to send us a super chat during buy or sell, we will certainly get to it right after. Catch anything else we need to hit before buy or sell?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. You want to go first or second?
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm finishing up my last one. I can go first today. I just finished.
Genius at work. He's proud of himself. He's got a smile on his face. I see that gleam in his eye, ladies and gentlemen. I got a feeling like there's a Porky's buy or sell coming up. What do you got, Catch?
Oh, you know me too well. Buy or sell number 1. Aggies beat the Tigers on Saturday.
Whoo! Boy, I hope so, but I'm going to try the reverse jinx. I'm going to sell. I got Missouri in like a close sort of 28-24 type of ball game. I don't know that I fully believe in either one of these teams, but all along, this is a game I thought was dangerous for the Aggies in the offseason. The fact that they've had injuries in the DB room going up against Burden, I think Burden's going to be the difference. So I'm going to say it's Missouri close. I hope I'm wrong.
Very Larry Fitzgerald, Pittsburgh at home.
Oh, easy. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. I don't need to see one of those live. No.
Okay.
God, I hope not.
I was just trying to get a sense for how big of a performance you thought Luther was going to put in.
I hope I don't come back talking to you about Larry Fitzgerald, because if I do, I'm going to be hammered drunk at that game tomorrow. My God.
It's not even nice that I remember that.
Great performance.
Buy or sell number 2. Bijan Robinson has kind of been an NFL bust so far.
I mean, I'll say it's a baby buy, but I don't put it all on Bijan. I just feel like the whole group hasn't figured it out. And this is now like a second coaching staff, isn't it? Like, isn't this 2 groups that have had to deal with him and they can't figure out how to do it? Yeah, it's got to be a little bit of a buy, but I still believe in his ability to be a good NFL back. We just haven't seen it yet.
Buy or sell number 3. I don't even know if you are aware of this stat, but I'm going to throw it out there at you. The Cowboys leading the NFL in victories, both regular season and playoff combined, during the Super Bowl era means something to you.
I guess that's
Cowboys play the Steelers this weekend.
Yeah, I got you.
So they're 1-2 during the Super Bowl era in victories, regular season playoffs combined.
Right, but they lead the NFL in victories in the Super Bowl era. I mean, yeah, I'm going to sell. I didn't know it, so it couldn't have meant that much. But even now that I see it, like, I mean, when you're...
It hasn't comforted you the last 30 years?
No, it hasn't, and it shouldn't. I mean, if you're a fan of a blue blood in the NFL, we all know what matters. The jewelry room is what matters, and those big matchups matter. And, you know, the Cowboys haven't been within... Not even there. They haven't been within a step of the Super Bowl in a quarter of a century or more. It's damn near 30 years it's about to be. So, no, that does not do a lot for me. So, I'm selling.
Buy or sell number 4, and I'm with you there. No major upsets this weekend in college football.
Oh, I'm definitely selling that. Every time when are we going to learn? Everybody looks at the schedule and goes, oh, yeah, handle your business. It's boring. I might watch Porky's. No, you won't. No, you won't, because there's going to be upsets somewhere. I'm selling. I'm taking the just math of college football. Something's going to happen that we're not expecting.
Now that I've thought about it, I don't think this is a good question.
Okay.
Because
going to put it up? I'm
going to put it up.
All right. Is this like
but I don't even know that you know. I don't know that you're going to be able to answer this.
Okay. Well, I will do my best.
It's a movie character hotter than.
Movie character hotter than.
This is in the movie.
Here we go.
Beulah Ball Breaker in Porky's.
Hotter
than Fat Amy in Pitch Perfect.
That's a sell. That's a pretty easy sell for me.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm a fan of Rebel. You get the singing quality. You get the comedic quality. No, I'm a fan of I'm a fan
Beulah's weight class.
What's that?
I'm trying to think of what a good hotter than would have been for Beulah.
Hang on, let me think a second. Who would I just had a weird image pop in my head. It can't be her. You know what? I'll take Ball Breaker over the mom in Throw Mama from the Train. Remember her? I'll take Beulah over the Where's the Beef lady. You know what? Any of the 3 Where's the Beef ladies. That's the class. That's the class I'm going to. How about that? Yes, the classiest show. Classiest part of the show. Always by yourself. All right. See, now I'm glad you brought up Beulah, because I got you to laugh like that. That's good. That's fantastic. Did my job today. All right, Catch, here we go. It's buy or sell, and we will start with some Texas football. Buy or sell number 1. If Sark goes with Trey Wisner at RB1, you think it's a mistake?
Buy. You know, if you're trying to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, the last thing Humpty Dumpty wants to see is that some other egg got put together before he did. It would, I think, bring some real self-worth questions for Humpty Dumpty at that point, who's already dealing with needing to be put back together again. I think in order for this team to accomplish what it wants to accomplish, that Jaden Blue's got to come right at some point. I realize Oklahoma's not exactly the game where you want to be testing this out, but you're testing it out one way or the other. Either you're breaking in a new starting running back, or you're testing out the old starting running back, figuring it out in this game. I just got to look at the finish line more so than where we are in the race. And at the finish line, they need Jaden Blue to find his way and be the player that I think we think he can be. I think it would be a mistake.
All right, Catch. Kind of the question you asked, but I'm focusing in. 5 top 10 teams are on the road this Saturday. You're going to take them all to win. Bama, Tennessee, Miami, Missouri, and Michigan will all get road wins tomorrow.
I'm going to sell.
Okay.
I think Miami could stub their toe this weekend.
Interesting. That's a long-ass trip, man. That is a long-ass trip.
It's
and
how do you get
interested?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Miami kind of has a little bit of that Missouri vibe where you're just like, are they really top 10 good, or are they just undefeated?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Well, and the thing is, if Miami beats Cal, it won't feel like they actually proved anything. So, but you know what? You gave me 5 games. I'll take I think the math would say that one loses somewhere.
Yep. I completely agree with you. That Tennessee at Arkansas game, don't overlook that one. I'm not guaranteed they're going to Fayetteville and winning that one for sure. All right, Catch, back to the Wisner issue. Buy or sell number 3. If Sark goes with Trey Wisner at RB1, Wisner gets 1,000 yards plus rushing this season.
So we almost have to get rid of the 1,000-yard idea this year. Until there's a running back that clearly establishes himself. But even then, look, after the OU game will officially be through the halfway point of the regular season. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we almost have to give up on the 1,000-yard running back unless, and here's the thing, we can't really start talking about it until we get to the other side of the unless. If one of these Texas running backs goes for 450 yards over 3 games soon, maybe. But we got to wait until they hit the 450 and not they hit 150 and then we're projecting that 300s. Because I think we were going to do that with Jaden Blue after the La Monroe game. You know, he hit his big game. It was like, okay, here we go. Prize Picks had his over and under at 105 yards. And then he didn't. So, yeah, I'm going to say we need to be more cautious the rest of the way with regards to this 1,000-yard idea.
All right, Ketch, let's just see what kind of moviegoer you are with a birthday. Buy or sell number 4. Dakota Johnson is 35 years old today. You have seen all 3 50 Shades movies.
I've never seen one.
Interesting. Okay.
And I don't have a real reason why other than because I like Dakota Johnson. The idea that she's doing some sexy stuff on screen sounds good when I say it. And I don't know. You know, my wife didn't make me see the original when it came out. It wasn't like for all of the movies her and I would go see together. She didn't say, let's go see 50 Shades, because I would have, but I never did. And should I?
I cannot speak for 2 of them. I saw the first one. It's all right. Yeah, it's okay. And again,
bondage, a little bit of freaky freak, but does Dakota even get naked in that movie?
Oh, yeah.
She gets naked.
I believe so. Now, I haven't seen it recently, but yes. I mean, there's certainly like sexuality and nudity and all that. Is it full nudity? I would have to double check that part, but yeah. That movie pushes it a little bit. Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Maybe I'll go see the original.
Yeah, especially if you like Dakota.
I could do a Dakota Johnson top 10, give myself an excuse.
Yes. Somebody else in the Johnson family has a birthday coming up. No relation, but buy or sell number 5, Ketch. Brian Johnson of AC/DC will hit 77 tomorrow. I'll let you go back and see any AC/DC show you want. You'd rather see him with Brian than Bon Scott.
So,
Bon
Scott.
Going Bon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever see AC/DC over the years?
Never.
Okay.
But if forced to choose one, I mean, there's a reason why you would even ask this question, because Bon Scott is Bon Scott.
You're going back to like the if you want blood, you've got it days, Highway to Hell.
Yeah,
and all that.
Yeah. I'm going back to the beginning.
There you
Early
go.
days.
Happy birthday tomorrow to the great Brian Johnson, back with the band after looking like he was going to have to hang him up. Very cool story there. All right, that's my buy or sell, Ketch. Let me scan, see if we got any super chats that came in. I don't see. Oh, here we go. We did get a super chat in on the A&M OU discussion. $5 from Hooked on the Horns. When A&M and OU play, I hope for both teams to get the flu so that they have to cancel the game.
Damn, Hooked on, you want people sick?
Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing you find a way to say, you find a way to say it that way. Sometimes I'll say a power outage, or I've heard people say they want somebody to hit.
Don't say that out loud.
Yeah, out loud is tough. I've heard people say they want
I hope they all get malaria. No.
It's like, so like for me in baseball, Ketch, I'm not a fan of either the Yankees or the Dodgers. For some reason, both those teams don't do anything for me. So if they met in the World Series, it would just be the most I don't care world. Now, ultimately, I'd root for the Dodgers because I hate the Yankees more. But it would be one of those like, oh, God, these two are really getting together. Whoa. All right. Did you do that on purpose, or what are you doing?
I don't know what I did, Chad.
That's kind of funny. I like that.
I don't know what happened.
I really don't either. That is fantastic. Let me see if we can. There we go. There it is. What are you doing? What buttons are you pressing on a Friday? What is happening?
Probably a clear sign that, like, it's time to go into the weekend.
It might be that. All right, you want a little Scottish guy before we hit the weekend?
That's the way every weekend should begin.
Let's do it. Scottish guy on a bye week. It's always nice to be remembered, but I've got backup just in case. I know you're not the kind to care what most folks say. You know I wouldn't have it any other way. Well, there's phase 1 down for the 2024 Horns, including the first SEC tilt. Let's take stock. 5-0 and never trail for 1 second? Check. Embarrass the defending champs in their yard? Check. Find out that if you need arch, you won't miss a beat? Check. And maybe a bonus of OU being a mess? Check and mate. Okay, sounds good. Let's take a look around this place where it all means more. Big ranked clash of the week, Missouri and the Aggies. Ah yes, the team that barely beat Vandy butts heads with the group that barely solved Bowling Green. Sounds epic. I'm sure the country will be riveted. Elsewhere, you can count on 3 things: death, taxes, and Lane Kiffin's crew impersonating a real football team. Look on the bright side, Freshwater. Your dog's doing great on social media. Now to the lesser UT. You've got Bama and Georgia coming up, so let's not get carried away. Handle the hogs, maybe we'll talk. Which brings us to last Saturday in T-Town. For the Longhorn fans that didn't watch, what exactly do I need to tell them to be scared of? The team who had no QB to start the game, or the one that barely hung on, scraped out a win, and avoided humiliation? Sark is supposed to fear a team without one QB that can go the distance? He's got 2 of those. One has already beaten Milroe and will dispatch of Beck in a couple weeks. The other is better than both of you combined, and he's the backup. So worship all you want, AP voters. The real number 1 is gonna take a breath and get ready to kick rival number 1's ass all over Dallas. The truth will be unavoidable very soon. UT 62, the bye week where they all fight for the silver medal. 3. This is SG. YAWN. For the record, shout out to Blake, the super producer, for finding a weird image of drugged out Bevo staring at the golden hat. I have no idea where that came from, but it might be my favorite part of that.
Can I ask Scottish guy a question?
Yes.
Did you quote Aaron Tippin?
That's an interesting guess. That is not Aaron Tippin. No. One of my favorite unsung singer-songwriter guys from back in the day, Damon Bramlett is his name. Now, did Aaron Tippett cover it? I don't know. But originally...
Is he saying I wouldn't have it any other way?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great... I think it's the last track on that album. It's an album like nobody's really heard, I don't think. Charlie Robison, Bruce Robison, and Kelly Willis all ended up covering a Damon Bramlett song along the way. But for some reason, Damon never hit. But I used to go see him for free catch at Stubbs on Fridays. He would do a free show at Stubbs on a Friday in the little room. And, before they moved outside, I probably saw him, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times that way. And always been one of my favorites. And for some reason, that song kind of fit lyrically.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Non-Aaron Tippin related.
Non-Aaron Tippin. I do dig some Aaron Tippin, though.
I was like, wow, you really dug. You did dig into your bag on that.
I did, yeah.
But just not into the Aaron Tippin files. Okay.
Yeah.
During Scottish guy, I noticed on Twitter that on my Liverpool page, because I have like my own Liverpool list that's just nothing but Liverpool tweets. They call French fries chips. Did you know that?
I did know that, yes.
So there's a tweet out that says, "What are you going for?" I want you to choose which one you would go for, okay?
Okay.
chips and mayo, chips and beans, which I've never seen somebody eat French fries with a pile of beans on them.
That combo that's so bizarre.
Chips and peas,
okay,
which is exactly like chips and beans.
Yeah.
Chips and curry, again, and chips and gravy, which I don't know what they're calling gravy. It is not, I don't think, what you and I would call gravy.
Okay, so until you got to the end, I had a different answer, but if I get to choose the gravy and it's the Hayes City store gravy, I'm going to go with the chips and gravy, because if I can have fries and run it through that gravy, it's going to be awesome. Otherwise, I would have gone with the beans. So I'm going fries and gravy. I'm going to do it at Hayes City store. I'm going to have a nice draft beer with it. It's going to be awesome.
The gravy that they're showing looks like my dog's diarrhea.
Oh my God. I'm just trying to make people think of Hayes City store, and then you did that. What are you doing? What is that? You are so mad at your dog right now that you would bring that up on the show.
I had forgotten that I was mad at my dog, but now that you brought it back up, the thing is I couldn't go in. I haven't changed the sheets yet. So when I go back into the bedroom, I'm going to see the mud everywhere. And
by the way, this might be the best, coolest, like country chat I've ever seen on this show. Cream gravy from Dairy Queen. Boom. Boom. Darwin, it ain't as good.
It doesn't say cream. I'll tell you what, before we go.
That ain't as good as Hayes City, but it's damn good gravy. I won't turn down some Dairy Queen cream gravy now. I get you.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Just give me a minute. I'm going to upload it so that we can all see this together, okay?
Okay.
You just got to bear with me. Fill some time. Do we have a bill to pay? Do you have any other buy or sell questions? Can you believe that we spent as much time talking about Beulah Ball Breaker on today's show?
You know what? I tell you what, to cleanse us of that, I was going to give you one that I couldn't remember if I had before, because it's like two of our favorites going head to head. I was going to give you Gal Gadot hotter than Stacy Keibler.
Oh my God.
What would you do with that one? Because I saw a little bit of Wonder Woman this morning, and I'm like, oh, let me throw Gal. And I did finish the Vince McMahon doc, and obviously Keibler's in there. So I thought, what does that battle look like? What do you do with that one?
I don't know that I'm right, Chad.
Okay.
But I'm going to go Keibler.
See, I think I would too. And it's because it's not fair to Gal Gadot in a way, but Gal Gadot's characters aren't required to be sexy or hot all the time. Keibler, that's all she was in wrestling. So I think that's the image that sticks in our head more than anything else.
You know, Keibler is just like a mom now. If you follow her on Instagram, it's always pictures with her kids. She's doing yoga. She's hanging out with other moms. And all I can think of is the WWE days.
Think of the lucky little 8, 9, and 10-year-old boys that are like friends with her son. And she's the hot mom in the neighborhood. She's the hot mom at the school.
I'm staying over at their house every weekend.
Can you imagine? You'd come up with stories of, no. Bomb hit the house. A bomb hit your house? Bomb hit the house. I got to stay with y'all. Man, I got to stay.
So you're going chips and gravy here. Chips and queso, that's too obvious. I didn't give that as an option.
Okay, so again, now you're putting them on the screen. Do I have to choose now from the pictures I'm looking at?
You have to choose from the pictures that you're looking at.
Okay, then in that case, I definitely go with the beans. Absolutely. There's no way. I know a lot of people would think more towards the cheese. I'll go with the beans. Definitely not the peas. If it's brown gravy, no. Curry, no. I don't need to mess with that. And it's the beans or the cheese, but I'll go beans.
I feel like we need to introduce the Brits into some cream gravy.
Yeah,
if they had cream gravy, they would not be using that.
If you go cream gravy, a lot of people would probably take it. I know a lot of people that would take it if you go ranch. I know people that do ranch with fries.
Yeah, I did too.
They get all over that. That'd be a no problem. Be a no big deal.
All right, it's time.
It is time. Let me make sure one more super chat catch. $5 more.
It's like skip Friday for me.
$5 more. Catch what I said can't be any worse than people who say, I hope a meteor hits the stadium. Yeah. I have heard people say that. That's what I think when the Giants and Eagles play. I do. I really do. Maybe a meteor will hit the stadium. By the way,
did you say handle the hog in the Scottish guy?
I believe handle the hogs was referenced. Yes, Tennessee needs to handle the hogs this weekend. They're going to Fayetteville. They need to handle their business. Absolutely. I don't know what your dirty mind is creating. How dare you accuse the Scottish guy of being unnecessarily dirty?
All I know is I heard handle the hog.
I hadn't thought of it that way. And in the brogue, too. Boy, can they handle the hog? All right. We're handling the hog. That's a weekend. Oh, my God. All right. Thank you for liking and subscribing and getting your notifications. 900 of you in that Specs chat.
I'm so sad that the peak number of the day was right now.
The whiskey sale goes through tomorrow on October 5th. So make sure you get to Specs or get that app and get it done. Football with Friends at 6. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy all the other football. We'll be back Monday at noon with another House Divided.
Y'all take hog this weekend if you have time.
Go whole hog. Do whatever you need to do with extra gravy.